Folks, I'm so fired up today for the episode. We got the one and the only Christine Conti in the house. Two Fit Crazies and a microphone right here doing the Impact Show. Christine, what do you got to say about today's show?
Oh, it is on fire! Woo!
Be ready. Be ready. Not only is she the 2023 Idea Personal Trainer of the Year, Fit Pro of the Year, she's everything, all over Idea, all over fitness. But man, when you listen into today's show, let me tell you what, the fire, the energy of what this woman is doing worldwide, just pay attention. Just listen. Christine, you ready to drop it?
Yeah, Mrs. 732, ready to drop it.
You're like, why is Todd wearing his brick jersey? It ain't mine. It's hers. Yeah, I'm wearing her powder puff jersey. Just tune in. You'll understand. Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. I got a little extra fire today. A little extra heat. Why do you ask? Thanks for asking. Because I am in New Jersey. I'm at the Jersey Shore. And specifically right now, I'm in the good old brick. O-U-S of A. And I'm not even solo. I'm not solo. I'm not by myself in New Jersey. I'm with a superstar. I'm with the one and the only Christine Conti. Yep, I've hijacked the office here of two Fit Crazies and a microphone, Christine Conti and Brian Pendergrast. You've probably heard two Fit Crazies. Yeah, so I called Christine last week. I'm like, Christine, I'm going to be in Jersey. Got a wedding coming up. I'd love to have you on the Impact Show. She's like, but Todd, only if you can record it from the beloved iconic studios. I'm like, are you kidding me? So this is kind of like the Impact Show meets two Fit Crazies and a microphone. So the two Fit Crazies today are Christine and myself. Even though, Brian, you're here, I'm taking over the show, and this is going to be fun. Christine, welcome to the show.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so excited. It's like Christine turned up. Like I took the volume from 10 and was like, yeah, I'm going to jack this to 100 today and just get Todd's energy pumping through my blood. Well, so welcome to the studio, the office, the bat cave, whatever we call it.
Well, there is a mutual commonality between us both being from Brick, New Jersey, and Christine recently earned and won the prestigious 2023 Idea Personal Trainer of the Year Award, which is, I'll say, one of the largest awards that any fitness professional or trainer could attain in the world. And in 2004, I had the opportunity to receive that. And it was a game changer for my career. It kind of put me on the map, per se. And I've shared that with all of you before on previous episodes. But when Christine Conti's name was called in July, Los Angeles, California, and I was in the audience, I went berserk. I was on the chair amongst thousands of people just absolutely going cray-cray. Like, that's my girl. That's my Brick friend. So we have two people from Brick. There's something in the water. Uh-huh. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. So all you future fit pros from the Brick or Jersey Shore area, there's something in the water. And, man, Christine, to see you up on stage at Idea and to hear your speech and your heart and soul speak through the microphone, and it was evident with your husband and kids in tow and all of the people you've impacted there. What a special moment in your career, I'm sure.
Oh, my gosh. It was, I mean, it's hard to put words to something like that. And especially, I don't have the normal background of like a fit pro and to be up there and to be, I guess, honored by your profession when you're like, Are you sure? It was really powerful.
Well, so I do it justice. I want to make sure you understand when she says I don't come from the typical traditional path up through fitness and training. I do want to literally read you her bio because it's special, and I couldn't remember all of the different things that you do. So, guys, check this out. Listen in as I'm going to embarrass Christine about everything. But Christine Conti, right here at the Jersey Shore, yes, she believes in the yes you can mindset. After receiving a life-changing diagnosis at age 30, she's a former investment banker. I want to talk about that. An English teacher at Brick. is determined to show the world that anything's possible. Christine's an international fitness educator on chronic disease. She's a wellness specialist and the recipient of course, the IDEA Fitness Professional of the Year. She's the CEO of Conti, a woman-owned enterprise that offers keynote speaking, chronic disease wellness, mindset coaching, and a continuing education for fitness pros, schools, and private companies. Best-selling author. I want to talk about that later. A podcast host of Two Fit Crazies on a Microphone that I've hijacked today on that. And she's the co-founder of Reinventing the Woman International. Oh, and 3-time Iron Woman, and serves as a Iron Woman guide for Special Olympics and athletes with so many great things that she's doing. And let me tell you what, when you hear these accolades, serving Special Olympics with your 1% Better Foundation, she lives in Brick. She works in the Jersey Shore, but she really works all over the place. She's leading retreats, got 2 children, the one and the only Christine Conti. Welcome to the show, which is somehow kind of your show, but it's our show today. Welcome. What a background.
Thanks for the welcome to wherever we are today.
Right?
I love it. I love it.
You got to talk about your background because it's unbelievable. From investment banker to teacher, we first met at Brick Memorial High School. That's the enemy in my term because I'm from Old Brick. But teaching at Brick, talk about that. Athletics growing up. Where'd you go to college?
I played volleyball at Binghamton University.
Binghamton, New York. All-American, by the way. Went on the investment banking English teacher, and now she's doing so many things. Share that path, please. It's amazing when you look back of how the heck you went from investment banking to teaching, reinventing yourself multiple times to now you wear many different hats and titles, and most importantly, as we've talked, as a mom and a wife, you're somehow, quote, balancing all of them. Talk about the ascent.
All right. Well, I grew up idolizing my 2 older sisters. I mean, that's you always think about what do you want to be, who do you want to follow, and my 2 older sisters were just like my idols. Whatever they did, I wanted to do, and they were one hell of athletes. Is all I have to say.
Why did you idolize them?
You just wanted to be older. You wanted to be, wow, that's so cool. And I grew up, so I'm really the youngest, and my mother told me I was a gift from God. Okay, not a mistake, gift from God.
Youngest of 3 kids?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's that, and I grew up when I was 4. My oldest sister was already playing volleyball in college, so she was out of the house. My other sister was just starting high school. I was dragged to sporting events from the time I was born. I lived in gyms, on fields, and that's what I wanted to do. And I had a mother she didn't play sports. Yep. My dad must have been one hell of an athlete, is all I have to say.
I want to talk more about that. I want to talk more about your dad, not from the athlete standpoint, but you have 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
Talk more about your dad, please. Please tell me more about your dad. I've been into this thing about fathers.
He was a saint.
I'd be great fathers to your daughter or daughter. So what
he
made
was
your
a
dad
saint.
special?
He had a lot of patience. He was hysterical. He was someone that every time, hey, Christine, you want a sandwich? Or let me make you a sandwich. Zap, you're a sandwich. Like slapstick humor. We had these fish, what are they called? Like picking up pots, like pot holders, right? And anytime you went into the kitchen, if he was doing something, he'd attack you with the fish, just hysterical.
Yep.
But he was a big cheerleader. Like he didn't have sons. He was a big, athlete growing up. He served in the military a little bit. And he, he was our big sideline cheerleader. He had never missed actually a sporting event I'd ever played in. He drove. He was retired when I was in college. Wow. Came up, traveled all over the place because I was in college playing. And the one field hockey game that he missed was when my grandfather died. The one game that he missed. I mean, this is the kind of person he was. And that, I think, was huge.
Is he still living?
He is not.
He's not.
He passed away about 8 years ago. And it was, another one of those powerful moments.
Let me ask you a question. Because you have teenage children, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Son and a daughter. So what as a mom now, and as a father, your father of 3 daughters, what advice would you give other fathers today with teenage daughters on how to be a great father?
I think it is being supportive and not. My dad was very passive, right? He wasn't the person at the game like, ref, or like, you know, like just screaming at everybody else. He wasn't cursing. There's never that moment where I'm like, oh my God, Dad, you're so embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, I'm laughing at myself.
Right. So it's funny because I knew what advice I would give is to be there.
Yep.
Just be there.
Yep.
Don't.
I love it.
You don't have to do anything, but be there and show up. Like that's one of the things I tell people all the time is like, just show up. Yeah. Don't, you know, and if you don't show up, ask, how was your day? And maybe they don't say anything for months, right. But maybe that one day they do. And that day they needed you. And that was huge for me.
Just asking for a friend. It's so good to be here. Keep going. So great father.
Yeah.
Great, by the way, parental wisdom. We've got a lot of parents who listen in. I think it's always intriguing. A lot of questions I get is from a parent perspective, whether it's sons or daughters. I have 2 sons and a daughter on that. So thanks for sharing. So keep going through the ascent.
So, all right. So here's the deal. I had a mother who was like, "That's great. You do all these sports. That's fun, but it's all about your grades. If you don't get good grades, then what does it matter? Doesn't matter. And you're not gonna, you know." And my mom was very very straightforward, and she was like, "Listen, you're not 6'5". You're not going to be playing volleyball in the Olympics," which I'm like, okay.
She's from Jersey.
You know, like he's not going to be playing in the Olympics. Like what's your other thing? What's your fallback? So you need to have a career. You need to be independent. She wanted her daughters to be able to take care of themselves.
Yep. And
that's what it came down to. So, you know, when I went, I loved fitness. I loved movement. It made me feel good. That was what I loved. But I knew, you know, I was told fitness isn't a full-time thing. Anyhow, looking back, but I needed to go through this. So I went to college. I majored in business and English, and you know, I came out and you know, I did the internships in New York City. I got the job as investment banking in equity research. I got to live in the East Village, my early 20s, and work. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing was that the money was great, but I was sitting behind a desk. That wasn't me. Like I'm like.
For how
this
long?
Is a couple years.
Okay.
And I just said that this isn't my love. Yeah. I can't imagine this. And I remember one woman I was working with, she commuted 2 hours to work, 2 hours home. She had 2 little kids. She never saw them. And I said, that's not what I want for my life. And I went back, got my master's at the University of Maryland and in leadership and education and English. So I figured I can teach. If I can teach, I can coach. And guess what? I love fitness, wellness. I'd gotten all the certifications in college, all the personal training and the Group X and whatever. So I had a side hustle at age 20. I already started doing trainings and teaching all the classes. And literally just because I love learning, like I was certified in everything from like step aerobics to kickbox to Zumba to
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
But I don't teach all that anymore, but I have the knowledge. And that's what I think was important to move forward and say, hey, yeah, I teach English. This is great, but I can also coach. So I was coaching boys and girls varsity and
Before you go
training.
There, let's make sure we spend time in New York for a second. You're an investment banker living in New York. On the outside, life is good. You're making money.
Yeah.
You're living the life.
Success.
But inside, something told you just you weren't at peace. You weren't happy. You didn't find your thing.
No, I felt like I wasn't making any difference in the world. I was pushing papers. I was behind a desk. I'm like, no interaction. I'm a face energy person. You get it.
Yeah. Why are you laughing? But when you went back to Maryland, was it you moved to Maryland or was it online?
Oh, good Lord. So this is where it gets fun. I was dating someone, right? This is where the story gets
comes
good,
back
right?
to the partner.
So I had been dating someone that was actually from New Jersey and went to the Naval Academy.
Yep.
Was stationed in San Diego. We'd done some like long-term whatever. I came back to teach at the Naval Academy. Guess what? School is not too far from the Naval Academy because we were going to move forward. And so I really moved down to Maryland because and let's just say they didn't work out.
Yeah. Guys, today's podcast is brought to you by two Fit Crazies and a microphone. And today we're talking all about Christine Conti's dating life. Yes, that was a paid sponsorship right there. So if everyone's got that story, I want to have
That's
fun
how
today.
I got down there.
So remember, the reason I asked that is because this is in a time before the whole pandemic stuff where it wasn't, I'd go to the University of Maryland or UCLA online. You left your job, you moved to Maryland, dating relationship didn't work out, your passion's teaching, coaching, keep going.
What's funny is I moved to Maryland, we break up, and I have no family, I have no friends. Like, I'm like living on Christine Island down in Maryland.
And you're how old?
23?
Yeah.
I have no reason to be down there. However, this program, 100% job placement. So I knew coming out of this 1-year intensive program, I would have a great teaching job. So I'm sitting here like, I have no reason to be down here anymore. And, you know, my mother's like, just come back to New York.
Always
you can live
New
here, get
Jersey,
the blah,
baby.
blah, blah, you know. And I'm like, you know what? So I met who is my husband now. We were dating. And I literally had a conversation with him at some point that was like, listen, I have no reason to be down here anymore. So, like, if you see this going somewhere, like, please let me know. And if not, just give me a heads up because I'm out. Like, I have no reason to be down here. And he's like, no, I think, you know. And so, he actually bought a townhouse. And I was like, I'm going to pay you rent. I don't want my name on anything. And he was like, good. I don't want your name on anyway. But anyway, but I was like, I'll pay you rent. So if this doesn't work, we had this conversation. If this doesn't work out, peace, I'm out of here. Like no strings attached. But we had this, it's an honest conversation, you know, but things worked out. And that's how I got to live at the Jersey Shore because that's where he's from.
So was that your first job teaching in Brick?
No, I was down in Maryland teaching and coaching for about 3 years or so, and then
what school district?
We were at Wheaton High School, and then Sherwood.
God, I used to have good soccer.
Yeah,
yep, keep going.
Sherwood High School. So Montgomery County, both of us were in, and then he's, you know, this is closer to my family, his family. We wanted to, you know, have kids. If we were going to do this, then we're going to Jersey. We're going to Jersey Shore, which leads us to Brick Township High School.
If you're not watching, I'm doing a Jersey little fist
pump. My 10-year residency at Brick Township High School.
10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Started the volleyball program there. Did you know that?
I did not
in this
know
area?
that. So share the story about 2016. What happens?
Ooh.
When some crazy guy came in and spoke in the auditorium.
Well, there's backstory to this. Okay. However, we'll start here and then we'll go backwards. Okay. But they would bring in the first day of school in our district. They would bring in, you know, different speakers or different things, and in comes Todd Durkin this year as our keynote speaker for the district. And we're in this big gym in Brick Memorial High School, which did that give you like made you itch and burn a little bit? Because you're right, it's like
I was at Brick High School in the morning. And I felt like $1 million.
Yeah.
Then I had to go over to Brick Memorial and
your skin burned.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to not do as well on purpose. I don't want to fire these people up.
We all did.
I want to inspire and motivate these people.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But you have to do what you have to do sometimes, right?
I had to, you know, put my ego aside and try to take a couple people and fire them up.
My son goes there, and it still hurts my skin when I walk in. I'm like, oh, okay. So Todd comes in. I'd heard about him. Backstory to that in a minute. But he's our keynote, and he's talking about impact and goes through the acronym and talks about his story and what he's doing. And I remember, and I took notes because I'm like, all right, let's see what he's going to talk about, huh? Okay, let's see. Let's see. The blah blah blah. What's going on? He wrote his book. I'm like, okay, all right. This is what I want to do. I'm doing the wrong thing. doing the wrong thing. And what's interesting is that after he gave his talk, I remember getting in my car. Now I have to drive back to the right side of town, right? Drive back to Brick Township. So I drive back over there, and I'm in the parking lot, and there's a girl that taught across the hallway from me. Her name's Nicole Rivera. And she parked next to me, and I got out of my car. She got out of her car, and I said, Nicole, I said, I just want to let you know, this is my first day of teaching.
Whoa.
And she was like, what? I go, she's like, huh? I'm like, this is it. This is my first day. And she was like, and what's crazy is that to this day, she'll still remind me, do you remember that day you got out of your car and you said that to me and then you actually did it? And I'm like, hells yeah. Hells yeah, I remember that.
So you're blaming me. I was the one who made all this stuff happen? Man.
Oh, God.
Hey, Brick School District, don't blame it on me. Don't blame it on me.
There's a lot that,
I didn't even do a great job at Brick Memorial High School. I mean, if you were at Brick that day, but so you got an inkling, a seedling from that impact talk that you had to make some change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we got to go back though. My first couple months at Brick Township High School. All right, your buddies, your football buddies
of course,
that I worked with. Right.
I'm blessing them right now.
All of them were a lot of administrators, teachers that I came in, and when they found out that I did so much with fitness and coaching and conferences and whatnot, they were like, "Hey, Christine, do you know Todd?" I'm like, random, right? Like, I'm like, Todd who? They're like, Todd Durkin. Don't you know Todd? He's, he does fitness stuff. I'm like, fitness stuff? Like, what does that mean? Isn't it great when people still come up to you sometimes and are like, so what do? Do you do like fitness stuff? Like, what the hell is that? Okay. Yeah, we step touch. I don't know.
Push-ups and arm farm.
Right. Like, so they're like, Todd, he's got like a place. He's in like California. He would like, and forever, like for a good year, I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And no, we're not friends, but you got to meet him. We're going to introduce you. I'm like, he lives in California. What is it like? What is happening? So they always would talk about this guy, Todd, before I knew who you were and what you were doing. So that's how this started, this whole thing of how many years ago I heard your name and I'm like, but they're your good buddies, and they were just so supportive of you, and that was always amazing.
To the day I die, I love them all.
Oh my gosh! Oh. So fast forward, I'm still, I'm coaching at Brick at the high schools in the fall, and pretty much all year, and doing all the things and teaching. And I remember as I got more and more into fitness, because companies then would hire me to go, present for them and be master trainers and things. So I would be teaching during the week, and then I'd jump on a plane on like a Friday. I remember getting back one day at like Sunday at like 1 a.m. Yep. And my kids, I taught older kids, so they're like 17, and they're like, Monday morning, Mrs. Conti, I'm so tired. And I'm like, dude, I just got in from Dallas like 4 hours ago. And they're like in Texas? I'm like, yeah, Texas. I'm like, so sit down, shut up, open your book, okay? And we're not going to talk about being tired right now. It wasn't good the last couple of years. I'm like, I don't even want to hear your excuses. But as it
sounds like that's good teaching to me. We're cracking the whip.
Tough love.
These kids.
Yeah. It was pretty funny, but as I got more and more involved, my love was there, and I just felt like something was missing. And then that's when that's really when everything caught up with me when I was 30, and I got diagnosed with this advanced autoimmune. And I just thought at age 30, like I was having all these pains and aches, and I was losing function of my hands. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night and think I broke my ankle. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's not broken.
Which autoimmune disease?
I have an advanced version of rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
For some people, you can have very little effects of rheumatoid arthritis. For some, it's worse. When I was diagnosed, what I thought of was my maternal grandmother, who was paralyzed from the neck down. So she was a quadriplegic. I never remember her walking. She died when I was 10. My mom was a main caretaker, nurses around the clock, financial, physical, emotional strain of the family. that's what I thought was going to happen to me right away. And, on and off of different cocktails of chemo and this, and it was life-changing. It was. And it made me realize fitness is not about, getting out there like I thought it was. Like CrossFit was me in college. You lift things up, you put things down, you just jump, you explode. That's what I always thought it was about. Yep. And it's not. And when I realized, I got diagnosed and I was sick, and I'm like, man, I don't care if I'm in those little Daisy Duke shorts or if I'm like a size whatever. I'm like, I care that I'm not in pain. Yep. I care that like I can function and not feel excruciating, pain or whatnot when I move. And that was what kind of was the light bulb. And I spent, 10 years. I'm still teaching, right? I spent almost a decade. But now I've got all these like exercise scientists and all the fitness people I've met around the world at my fingertips. So I'd call them up, but whether it's doctors or my own rheumatologists and whatnot, and I studied, and I was an experimental one. And I did all the things. Like I tried it, from like vegan to acupuncture to laser light therapy to you name it. I tried it because I knew that there had to be something I could do with all the information I'd had in the 20 years of fitness industry. There had to be something that I can do to help relieve some of my symptoms. And that's where it started. So now I'm teaching, and I'm like, you know what? I know I should feel fulfilled. I know I should feel like, you're a teacher, you're changing lives. Right. But every day it started, and this is leading up to when I got out of the car after you spoke, for probably a couple years before, I started getting that feeling, that itch, like there's something more. And I'd had it. I've always had it. That is my problem in life. Like I sleep like with my eyes open, like a vampire. Come on. Because there's so many ideas and there's so many things. And people may say, oh, here, take a pill. You probably have ADD. No, you feel like once you open yourself, almost like a lightning rod, to the messages of the universe or all whatever weird things you want to call it, your life changes. And I woke up. And after getting, diagnosed and realizing there's something bigger and I need to listen to it, because I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life if I don't follow, or at least try. At least I have to make some sort of like, I have to act. And that was where it started with, you know what? If I don't try whatever this thing is, right? Like if I don't go for it, and I didn't even know what it was. I wasn't that entrepreneur who was like, I saved $100,000. I can just, no, it was, if I don't know the fate of my body, if I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, I have to do something now. Or I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And I started thinking to myself, I go into the classroom every day and I tell my students to follow their dreams, to go do what you believe in. I tell my athletes, you can do anything you put your mind to. I'm teaching mindset. I'm teaching the whole anything is possible thing. Yet I'm lying to them. And that's what I started realizing. I can't do this. I can't tell you one thing. And I remember when I left coaching, I sat my team down after the season and I said, I tell you this all the time about chasing your dreams and this. I said, but I can't coach you anymore until I put my money where my mouth is and I walk the walk. I said, because I am not doing it. And I said, I know there's something out there. And that's when I took a sabbatical. So that was my first day was, you had your keynote. I came in, I was like, this is my last first day of teaching. I finished that year. I took a sabbatical with the idea that at least I have a year to see if this is what I want to do. And it's funny because everyone's like, you're never coming back. You can't come back. You can't because this is not the walls of the classroom felt like they were suffocating.
How old were you then? About early 30s?
No, late 30s.
Late 30s. So you were married, had kids.
I
just want to make sure we set the stage so it's not like, hey, I'm 25, I got no responsibility.
No.
You're married, you have kids, you've got a job, a good job, you're a teacher, you're making money, and you're like, I got to pivot.
Medical, all the things.
Do you think the diagnosis in some ways was a blessing?
Oh, yeah. It's that getting sick that's my gift, right? I talk about the quote I always use. It's that, your goal in life is to find your gift. Your purpose in life is to give it away. Is really important. And for me, I was able to, say, all right, I got this diagnosis. I could have easily been like, oh, poor me. Yeah. Oh, this is terrible. I'm not going to do anything. That's not who I am. Every fiber of my being would not let that happen. Yeah. And that's where you realize, okay, well, everything I've ever done, from coaching to teaching to business to whatever, I have these skills. I love people. I have the ability to reach people and shake them up and realize whatever it is you're going through, that has to be your gift. Yep. How are you going to realize that this is a gift, that you can help other people? Because if not, what's your purpose in life if it's not to help others?
So that's a great point. And I love what you're saying, Christine. So going through this, in the last, I'll say, 5 to 10 years, you've done a lot of different things within fitness. Because I think people hear fitness and sometimes they think they have their own image of what that is. If someone was to ask you today, Christine, what do you do? What do you say to them?
Depending on what their field is. Right, depending on who it is, right? For many people, I say, I am a chronic disease wellness specialist. I love working with people that have various diseases, whether it's an arthritis, or when you think of chronic disease, it could be depression, it could be alcoholism, it could be Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ALS, anything that is chronic. So you think you have chronic pain and you think you can't? Well, I don't believe it. I think you can. And you could sit there, and when I teach workshops, like one of them I teach is called Arthritis Head to Toe. And I have people come in and I say, if you think that I'm going to give you a workout that's a one-size-fits-all for anybody, you're mistaken. You might as well walk out. I said, but when we talk about head to toe, what do we start with? Your mindset.
Talk to me now.
See? People get diagnosed. Ready? People get diagnosed with a chronic illness. People get injured, right? It's the stages of grief. That's what you have to understand. And that's what people don't get. Think about all the athletes, right? It's football season right now, right? All the athletes that go on the injured list, okay? All the athletes that get hurt and then they're wiped out for the season. That's mental, that they need to – if their mind isn't right, they're never coming back, ever. So it's the stages of grief that you that you need to understand. That's my theory. What stage is that person in when they come to you? If you're a fitness professional and I've got you coming to me and you just got diagnosed with a life-changing disease, which I did, I went through I was upset, and then I was in denial, and then I was angry, and then I reached the point of acceptance. And that's where we as fitness professionals, if you don't reach that point, you're never going to help that person, because they need to accept it and say, I'm going to accept this and I'm going to move forward.
I'm taking notes. I don't know about y'all. I'm taking notes over here. Y'all are laughing at me because y'all are like, I wish I wasn't out for a walk, jog, or run right now. Listen to Christine. But I'm taking notes because even if you're not an athlete and you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, you've got anything going on, there's a saying that says, get your mind right. Get your mind right. It always comes back to mindset and going through battling and adversity and challenge on that. So you say now, depending on who you're talking to, is how you describe what you do, because you have so many different titles. The other thing is, you've had a lot of different fork-in-the-road moments. I call them fork-in-the-road moments. And if y'all can think back to your fork-in-the-road moments, you've had many, going back to what school you're going to go to play sports, and then investment banking, and then teaching coaching, and then the, quote, fitness thing. And within that, even the last decade, was there a fork-in-the-road moment out of all of those where you knew that, I'll say, you were different? Or, man, if I did this, they would think I'm crazy. Now, probably all of it in some ways, but was there ever that moment, that come to Jesus moment where, man, is it leave investment banking, or if I leave teaching, coaching, and this security, they'll think I'm crazy. Or if I do this, some of the things you're doing now, was there a moment, or was it a series of fork in the roads?
I think there's a lot of them. I really believe when I was younger, I thought that everybody just worked really hard. Okay, like everyone like studied really hard and they would like do extra running or do extra thing. I thought that was the norm, and I didn't want to be average. I know that's weird, but like I saw, I was always chasing my sister's fame, right? Like I was always like, oh, they did something. They graduated high school. I want to graduate. They graduated college. I want to do that. I was always like playing catch up is what it was. Yep. And I always idolized people that were doing amazing things, people that fascinated me. And that it's intensity. I think I've backed off a little bit, maybe not.
I was going to ask you.
I don't know.
How do you do it now?
Some people are like, wow, you are crazy.
Brian over here
ever.
is laughing his head off, thinking, shaking his head like, not a chance.
I don't know, sometimes, but I'm intense. I think I handle it a little differently now, personally, in my own head. But it's intense. I've started realizing, and I remember, oh my gosh, there's some good moments. Everyone goes through some tough stuff in high school, and I remember going through some times that were not that wonderful. I mean, you always have a moment where you're sitting on your bed and you cry, right? I remember a teacher said that to us once when I was younger. If you've never sat in the end of your bed and cried and just thought that things were, life was over or whatever, then you will one day. And I think all of us have. Everybody does. We go through things. And and I remember there were, there's so many moments of doubting yourself, but wanting to do better and thinking maybe you're not enough, or what else can I do to stand out? And I said, my mother, I loved her dearly raising us. And I remember her saying, no matter how good you think you are, there's always going to be someone better. Woo! Okay, that was a little heavy as a child, like I'm like, okay, all right, I don't know what I can do, and I remember in college there was a girl that she played next to me, and she was, I remember we had this team meeting once, and she was like, I feel like you're a little intimidating when I play next to you. And meanwhile, I'm like, seriously? Like, what? Don't mess up then. Like, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean I'm intimidating? Like, get the freaking ball. Like, but that was the mindset. And and people were like, what is wrong with her? But I think that's part of people ask me, what's my superpower? Brian knows this. My superpower is crazy. That's it. But the people who think, the craziest people are the ones who change the world. We come up with these ideas. People are like, that's stupid. When I left teaching, my mom, Christine, this is how I think she talks, even though she doesn't. Christine, what are you doing? You're throwing away your pension? Oh my God, you're medical. You got kids. Education? What are you going to do now? Oh, you're crazy. You're going through a midlife crisis. Is that it? Yeah.
I love the Jersey accent right there, by the way. That was beautiful. I like that.
As if she smoked all the Newports and whatnot. No, I don't,
Is Mama still living?
She is.
Okay.
Good Lord.
Good.
She beat pancreatic cancer. The lady's still hanging on. I think she's going to live until she's like 120 just to.
Wow.
Yeah. God bless you, Carol, out there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh.
So you've been blessed to have a great mom and a dad. And the mom's still living. That is fantastic to hear. So thank you for sharing that. I think all of us have fork in the road moments, and we all have those moments where at the end of the bed or on our knees praying or crying, pleading out. And it doesn't matter if you're a teen, if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, everyone's got those moments, right? So it is great to hear that, Christine. You also wrote a book about a year and a half ago.
You did.
Right? And split-second courage. What does that mean? Split-second courage.
Woo! Split-second courage. That is your ability to make a choice at a split second and not think back, not regret it, not hesitate, not balk. It's you have built up enough courage in your life. You've had enough experiences. You know how to handle the repercussions of the decision you make. You have the coping mechanisms. You have the techniques in place so that whatever decision you make, you're going to handle it. You're going to be okay. You're going to figure it out. And that's what is I think it's what makes you act in situations where you think about and you're like, oh, I could never do that. I would never do what they did. I couldn't imagine running into a burning building and to save someone. That's so dangerous. Or how could, and I think of, I always go back to just something that everyone, has seen in the movies or whatnot with September 11th, right? Those people that are on the plane and they yell, let's roll. And they wound up taking over the terrorists, crashing the plane to save lives, to save the greater good. And when you think of split-second courage, it could be something really little, like you see an older woman who's struggling and drops her grocery bag and you pick it up for her. That's split-second courage. You don't think about it. You just do it. You do the right thing. Or is it something a little bit bigger that causes even bigger ripples in the world? And that's what I think is the difference between people living really quality, good lives. And again, you could be in sports, making a split-second decision on the field in a game, or you could be giving split-second advice to somebody. And again, you can relate that in any way possible, but the biggest thing people think, and the little title underneath the title is, what if your fears were the key to your dreams? Once you face your fears, once you realize that I can do things and they're all freaking scary, that you can build up your courage to face even bigger and bigger fears.
So good. That word courage is just resonates with so many people. When you think about courage, the one thing that is often lacking is either courage or confidence these days. So it's how do you establish that muscle, build that muscle. When we talk about fear, using fear as fuel to fuel your dreams and having the courage and the confidence. The split-second aspect is literally building up the muscle so that when it's that time, and it could be quotes, a split second in real time could be a split second, or it could be a week or a month, but it's in making sure it doesn't go years and years, that if there's a dream that's inside of you, that it doesn't lay dormant for the rest of your life, and that you've got, you die with dreams inside of you that you look back and reflect on, man, I wish I would have taken that step. Because when you've taken that step like you have, Christine, you're a great example of this, of leaving a great career in investment banking because you knew it wasn't the right thing, or in teaching where you were making impact and you were doing great things for brick school systems, but you felt inside of you there was something even greater and bigger than that, and made those steps. And you have this meteoric rise within the fitness motivational industry, I'll call it, and now you're impacting thousands of people worldwide. It's really inspiring to see, and I'm really, really excited for what's even coming after this, because I know the best is yet to come. If someone wanted to pick up that book, where would they do that?
Amazon.
Good old Amazon. Check it out. Split Second Courage by Christine Conti. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Speaking of what's next, what is next for Christine Conti?
Oh my gosh! All right, so you know what
buckle up.
I have
buckle
to say.
Up. I got
all right,
it. We got.
Here we go.
Here we go. Buckle
Here we go. Number one is that that split second courage, right? Don't think that you can't be more courageous, because you can. That's really important.
Talk now. Really
important. And don't think that that's just me talking about a book, like pontificating, like you need to do this and then you do this and that. I hate that, okay? And I remember starting that. I was like, I am not writing a self-help book. It is not going to – and I am sorry if you love the book The Secret. I hate that book, okay? Don't think about it. Freaking act. Like, do something. Like, think about it, but then act. And I am someone who tends to act, and then I think about it, okay?
Ready, fire, aim,
all right,
baby.
There
Ready,
it is.
Fire,
so,
aim.
like, I'll do it, and then I'll be like, oh, shoot, I got to figure this out, okay? But – you act, you make the step, and I make plenty of mistakes, right? But I'm going to act, and that book is a book of stories. Like this podcast, over 6 years, okay. And you were on our show, and you were like, I should start a podcast. Blah blah blah. We were like, Todd, start the freaking podcast. There's me.
Was I in the show before we even had the Impact show?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You were like, I should do a podcast. I'm like, yeah. Brian and I were like, so you're waiting for what?
It was a 5-year delay.
So, yeah. So with all the guests, we've had, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of interviews of these amazing people from all over the world. And that's really what the book is. It's not just me. It's all these stories of all these other people's overcoming and what they did. So it's like, here's what they did. That may work for you, maybe not, but it gives you ideas. So it's all these little vignettes, and that's really what that is about. And when you talk about what's going forward, when when I left teaching and when I got sick and, when my dad passed and all of these things in life that make you kind of realize how finite life is, that is when I'm like, you know what? I don't ever want to reach the end of my life and say, I wonder what it would have been like if I wish I would have, wow, remember that time when I should have, fill in the blank. I don't want to ever have that.
Yep.
And that's really important. And that's when, I think the whole idea of like, wow, that's crazy. People would say that more and more to me. Wow, that's crazy. Why would you do that? And, that's when, the Ironman Foundation had reached out and I did my first Ironman. I didn't really know how to swim. Like I was like 6 months out. Like I'd never swam in open water. Like I know I'd live at the beach, but it's totally different. Totally different. I didn't know the difference between a road bike and a tri bike, nor did I have $10,000 to drop down for bikes and coaches and whatever. I knew how to run. That was about it. And that's scary. And I started doing things that scared me. And now I always have something on the calendar that I'm afraid of. Always.
Like right now, what is that?
Like right now, while we're recording, in 2 days, I'm going to go up to Jones Beach on Long Island and guide a Special Olympics athlete.
Oh my gosh! I know people running the Jones Beach.
Well,
triathlon.
I'm guiding, so I'm starting first before the pros with my man Trent Hampton. All right, who's going to be going to the Olympics, whatever. Yep. I'm going to be guiding him, and then a couple other things going on. But then I'm headed to Kona with the Chris Nikic Foundation, which is. The first ever, I'll be with guiding the first ever women. One is the first ever autistic woman, neurodivergent category. And also the other one is, has MS and she's had 3 pacemaker surgeries. So I will be their person. We're going to do everything together.
You're doing.
I do it. I do everything with them. So I'll be at Kona at the World Championships in a couple weeks. Oh, good Lord. Why do I do this to myself?
Because you're a fit crazy.
Right. But it's just the opportunities once you realize what's out there and you literally I just started putting my hand up.
Saying yes.
Saying hey, I'm here. And that's, even before winning the Idea Award, it's okay, I'm fearful. I want to make sure that I say the right things when I'm up on stage, and it could be something like that. It could be a race. Running retreats and, starting this international women's group. You want to do the right thing. You want to serve, other people. You want to make sure there's value in everything you're doing. I think every day there's something that is a little bit fearful, a little bit stepping outside your comfort zone. I mean, I just think you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain at this point.
So good. So good. Christine, where can someone follow you? All of this stuff going on. Where do you like to hang?
Woo. Okay. So obviously, my website, contifit.com. You can find my email. You can, my Facebook, super easy. Instagram, it's hysterical because my Instagram got hacked recently, but it's fine. There's another one. It's really easy to find me. The Christine Conti is a new one. There's Christine Conti as well. Whatever one's working is the one that's me. Okay, so we're good. But super easy to find on all the Twitters and 2 Fit Crazies and a microphone podcast.
Yes, I was going to say.
2fitcrazies.com. Subscribe right after you watch the Impact Show.
Yes.
You know what? I forgot to show you. Look what I brought.
What? Look at the green and white. Number 10? Were you number 10?
I was number 10, but yeah, that's what it had. I didn't wear it because there was a little stain on it.
Oh
my God.
I want to put
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that great? I was going to wear it and then it had a little stain on the collar and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it looks used because these were our, did you do powder puff when you were in school? Did they do that?
Of course what do you think, I went in the 1960s?
Yes.
Of course we did powder puff.
That was my powder puff jersey.
Sleeves,
oh my God. It's
go.
It's tight like you have pads on.
What are you talking about?
Look at the muscles here.
Green should be my corporate colors. You know, I feel like I come alive when I put the green on. It's like, boom. Like, look at that. I am now wearing Christine Conti's powder puff jersey, number 10. And the 10, that's
Yeah.
the number. Goodness.
Is it? That was my sister's, mine, college, 10. There's no better number than 10.
Fitness Quest 10.
See, I know.
Everything
I
is
know.
10.
I
To
know.
the point where people are like, what's the 10? Because 10 was always my athletic number from the time I was little on up. And Fitness Quest 10, my wife's birthday's on the 10th. Two of my 3 kids' birthdays are on the 10th. I messed the planning up of the third one. I messed that one up. But that being said, everything happens in 10s, all right? 10's a good number, so I'm wearing the brick 10. Here we go with rapid-fire deep questions. Ready?
Okay.
What most makes your soul sing?
Oh, I love seeing my kids happy.
Okay. Good enough. What's the hardest thing you've ever gone through?
I want to say that, two different things. Emotionally, the sudden passing of my dad. That emotionally, that was just like ripping a Band-Aid off, right? Just like you're not expecting it, just bam. And that, I think, nothing hurts more than that. And all the physical pain that I've been through with like Ironmans or surgeries or other pain, I think I always say to myself, this doesn't hurt as much as that does.
Yep.
And it pushes you through. That mental toughness can get you through anything.
And what was the other one? Just the pain part? So
I
your
think
dad's passing.
I think that was mentally, that quick passing was mentally the hardest. And then physically, some of the Ironmans and 100-mile race I did once was, yeah.
If you're not watching, I'm looking at her like she's crazy.
That was,
oh, wait, she is.
That was pretty,
I like her so much.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, see, I blocked it out of my mind.
blocked it out.
100-mile or...
If I was to talk to your family, what 3 words would they say that best describes who you are?
Oh, God.
3 words. Ready, go.
Crazy.
1.
Fit.
2.
And excited.
Excited. If I was to talk to your clients and who you serve, what are 3 words they would say about you?
Crazy. Okay.
Crazy.
There it is.
Consistency.
Yeah, it is very consistent. Crazy. They would say motivating and probably like endlessly supportive.
Okay. And then real talk here. Christine Conti, who is she? If there's 3 words that you would say about you, whether people know that or not, what are 3 words that you would say, this is who I am?
Probably yes, you can. Those are my words to live by. So when people think of, I hope that one day, when I'm no longer here, that when someone says my name, they would say, anything is possible. Yes, you can. That's it.
Christine Conti, it is so good to be here with you in New Jersey, in the studios of 2 Fit Crazies and a microphone, with your sidekick on the podcast, Brian. Brian, thank you for hosting today. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you've done as a fit pro, as a woman, as a wife, as a mom to your 2 kids. Just the amazing things that you're putting into the universe today, and to walk the path you have is not always easy. To make the moves that you've made, and when you look back, it makes sense. But when you're going through it, man, sometimes you think you are crazy. But I do believe everyone's got a little cray-cray in them, and it's good. It's a good, healthy thing. So I just want to say thank you, and it's been an honor to be here today. And any final words for our listeners today before we wrap up today's crazy show.
How awesome was that? We get you in person in the Jersey Shore. Oh, I love it. So
with a brick jersey on?
Seriously.
Come on. I didn't even expect this. So, guys, there you have it. Make sure you follow Christine. Pick up her book. Listen to her podcast with Brian. Make sure you subscribe to Fit Crazy on a Microphone. As always, with the Impact Show, I thank you for tuning in. If you have not recently given us a 5-star rating, do it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And don't forget, if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it. If there's someone that you know that you're like, hey, Todd had this girl, Christine, on, 2 brick folks, just dropping some energy and craziness on the world today. Can you please share that on your social media, in your email, in your newsletter, or just text it to a friend and say, hey, check this out. And if you want some great energy coming through your ears on a weekly basis, you now have 2 great podcasts to listen to between the Impact Show and Fit Crazy on a Microphone. Check it on out. Thank you. God bless you. Have an awesome day. And until next time, remember, you got to train hard. You must eat right. Live inspired and go create impact. To all you Fit Crazy on a Microphone fans, all you Impact Show fans, God bless you. Have a great day. We out.
Woo!
Let's go.